problem solving with trend lines. Our learning target for today is I can use a line of fit to make predictions. Now, looking at our first example, several members at a gym were asked how many minutes they worked out at the gym that day, as well as how many calories they burned. Their answers were used to make the scatter plot at the right. First, we want to write an equation for the trend line. Remember, every equation that we write for lines in the coordinate plane is in slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b. So I want to identify my m, which was my slope, and my b, which is my y-intercept. So notice here, I don't have a y-intercept. It starts at 0, 0, so I'm not going to have a plus b. Now I'm going to use 0, 0 as one of my points that are on the trend line. Remember, when we write equations for trend lines, they have to be points that are on the actual line. My next nicest point is the point 20, 30 right here, so I'm going to use that point. I'm going up 1, 2, 3, but each time I go up, I actually go up 100, so this is going up 300. And then I'm going over to the right, 1, 2, but each time I'm going over 1, that's 10, so this is 20. So my slope here would be 300 over 20, which is 15. So in equation form, I'd have y equals 15x. What does the x represent in the equation? The x represents the time in minutes that I work out. So it's just the minutes that I work out. And then what does the y represent? The y is my calories burned. So y represents calories burned. Now we'll use the equation to answer the questions below. Remember, our equation was y equals 15x, where y stood for the amount of calories that we will burn in total, and x was the amount of minutes that we worked out. How many calories would you expect someone to burn if they spent 120 minutes at the gym? So 120 minutes at the gym, this is our x. So in my equation y equals 15x, the x is going to be replaced with 120. So if I burn 15 calories per minute and I work out for 120 minutes, 15 times 120 would give me the amount of calories that I burn. 15 times 120 is 1,800 calories. So in 120 minutes, I will burn 1,800 calories. Number two, if someone has burned 1,740 calories, how many minutes would you predict they've spent at the gym? So this one, we're looking for the minutes that we're spending at the gym, and we're given the total amount of calories. Well, the total amount of calories was my y, so I'll plug in 1,740 in for my y. That's going to be equal to 15x. To get 1x, I'll divide 1,740 by 15 to get me a single x of 116. So if I work out for 116 minutes, then I would burn 1,740 calories. Number three, what's the slope of the trend line equation and what does it represent? So my slope, remember, is my m in my y equals mx plus b, which was my 15. So 15 means for every minute that I work out, I'll burn 15 calories. And then what's the y-intercept of the trend line and what does it represent? Notice I don't have that plus or minus 0, right? There's no b value here. So that tells me if I don't work out, then I'm not going to burn any calories. Looking at my second example, Julian made her scatter plot to show the number of band members at his school over the years. The trend line of this scatter plot had an equation of y equals 13x plus 45, where y represents the total number of band members and x represents the number of years since 1990. How many students would you predict to be members of the band in 1997? So I have this equation y equals 13x plus 45. The y stood for the total amount of band members, and then the x was the years since 1990. So here I want to predict in 1997. So 1997 minus 1990 would be 7 years. So I'm going to plug in 7 for my x in my equation, and that will tell me the total amount of band members. So I would say y equals 13 times 7 plus 45. 13 times 7 plus 45 would get me a total amount of band members of 136 members. So in 1997, I would expect there to be about 136 members. Number 6, how many students would you expect to be members of the band in 2010? So here I'm looking for members in the band in 2010. So 2010 minus 1990 would give me 20 years. So I'm going to plug in 20 for my x this time. So y equals 13 times 20 plus 45. 13 times 20 plus 45 would give me 305 members. So in 2010, I would expect there to be 305 members. Now, 7, in what year would you expect the band to have 370 members? This time I'm given the y value, the total amount of members. And I want to know the number of years since 1990 that it would be. So I'll plug in 370 for my y. So 370 will equal 13x plus 45. Solving this equation, I'll subtract 45 from both sides. So 325 is equal to 13x. I'll divide everything by 13 to get me x is equal to 15. So x equaling 15 tells me it's been 15 years since 1990 if I have 370 members. So adding 15 to 1990 would give me the year 2015. So in 2015, I would expect there to be 370 members. In today's lesson, we learned we can make predictions based off of a trend line once we identify the slope and the y-intercept. That's a wrap on today's video. We'll see you in the next one.